Hi, welcome back. Great Dog of the North's build series on the King Hauler. I'm very excited today because today we're going to build this. The 3-speed transmission. It's very cool. A lot of parts in there. Very complex. It's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to it. Alright. I will show you the finished assembly when it's done. I may break in periodically and give you updates of what the different pieces look like. So without further ado, we go on with part 2 of the King Hauler build and the 3-speed transmission. Okay, see ya.
At the beginning of every step, I check the directions carefully and then collect the parts in the little white tray, and then I start the assembly process, referring frequently back to the directions. This is the speeded up view of the assembly of the transmission. Here you see me matching the parts. It went together fairly easily. The little E-rings were a problem. Nothing a pair of pliers couldn't fix.
Well, I didn't realize I left the camera on. I thought I turned it off. But anyway, so you get to watch me put together the transmission shaft, and I'll probably edit that down or speed it up. This is the end of step 20 where we build shaft A. And this is the first part of the 3-speed transmission. So there's a nylon gear here. There is a metal gear inside. Right here. There's another metal gear here, and there is another nylon gear here, and this is all held together on the shaft with these E-rings right there. Those are fun. At the end of step 21, I have assembled gear shaft B. It's very interesting putting this together. The directions are a little difficult to follow, but I did get it on there. I did get it put together according to the instructions, but I'm a little curious about how this is going to work. There's metal pieces, there's nylon. There's apparently three gears here, and this gear meshes with this one somehow, some way. Looks like this, I guess, but we'll see more about that in an upcoming step. But there's a good picture of gear shaft B, and this is A again. Lots of little E-rings on this piece. Alright, I'm going to complete step 22 and then I'll be back. At the end of step 22, we have assembled the shift rod. It has these little springs. There's a little nylon spacer here, and that's it. Somehow all of this stuff is going to get combined together to build the transmission for this thing. There, you can see it real well there. Alright, I'll be back. Step 23 is up. In step 23, I've partially assembled the gearbox. That all of those gears and the shifting rod, everything will get attached to this guy. And as you can see, it's all metal. In the next step, 24, looks like a lot of the gears and the shift rod all come together in this guy. And then in step 25, we add the motor and some other stuff. So we're moving right along. And then by the time we get to step 27, the whole thing goes in the truck. So hang in there, we're going to get there. At the end of step 24, we have completed the main assembly of the transmission. I'm going to bring this up real close so you can see it. So that's kind of cool. The motor will get attached here in step 25, and then in step 26 we're going to put the transmission housing over the top of this, so you won't be able to see the inside anymore. But that's what it looks like. A lot of little interesting bits and pieces in there, but that's what you get. This is the transmission for the King Hauler. Welcome back. At the end of step 25, I've got the motor assembled to the transmission, and we have added there is a little knob here. This gets attached to the shifting servo so that the transmission can shift, and we've attached the little joint cup here at the front, this little guy right here, and our drive shaft will get connected here and reach back to the rear wheels, where there's another joint cup just like this. And here's our motor, and this is made by Mabuchi. This isn't one of the stock Tamiya 540 motors. This is a Tamiya. That's a Tamiya motor. They gave me they provided a Mabuchi, which is a pretty high quality motor for this kit. So now you can see the entire assembly. Here's the shift mechanism with its little ball for shifting in and out, as you can see, and our shaft cup and motor. This is a 10T gear. Now the important thing about this gear is when you install this, I don't know if you can, yeah, you can see it there. You don't want to have this gear really tight on the nylon gear. You've got to have a little tiny room there, just a little, so that they all mesh properly and everything spins the way it should. Okay, it's got to be smooth, not too tight, not too loose. Alright, in the next step, 26, we put the gearbox cover, the transmission casing, together around this whole assembly. And then in step 27, we put the whole smash in the truck and connect the drive shaft. And I'll show you that when I get those stages done. I'll be back. At the end of step 26, I've assembled the transmission housing over the frame of the transmission. It's 2 pieces of black, 5 screws and nuts. And now in step 27, this assembly gets mounted to the chassis and the drive shaft is installed. I'll be back. Hi, welcome back. This is the end of step 27. I have assembled the motor and the new transmission into the chassis, right, into the frame. Here's the drive shaft. Here's the drive shaft, stretching all the way from the transmission all the way down to the rear axles. Up here, the shifting servo is now attached to the transmission shift. So as the servo shifts, as the servo moves, the transmission inside of here will change gears. There's 3 gears, 3 speeds in here. There's 3 gears. So this little control arm right here controls what gear we're in. And there you go. The whole thing is now assembled into the chassis. There's the motor, and here's the transmission. And all of those parts that you saw in the previous steps are now inside this transmission housing right here. Okay, we're all done, and we're on to step 28, where we make some mud flaps and continue on doing some other stuff, and I'll be back. At the end of step 28, I have put together these 2 mud flaps. They have stickers from the sticker sheet, and there's 3 little screws that hold them on, to hold the mud flap. The mud flap's actually made out of rubber, and there's 3 little nuts on the back that are holding it on, and there are 2 of those. On to step 29. Hi, welcome back to the King Hauler video. At the end of step 29, we assemble the coupler plate, and in step 30, we attach this to the chassis with a few other things, including the mud flaps that we made in previous steps. So there you go. This is kind of a cool little thing. You know, this at the end of step 30, we have installed the fenders on both sides. These are the rear fenders. The trailer coupler for the box trailer, and one day this will be connected to a servo that will operate this, and the mud flaps are on the back. That's step 30. This is what the fenders look like. Yeah, there's both sides. And the coupler. Alright, so we're on to step 31, where we put fuel tanks together, and get the steps and stuff like that put together, and then those get attached to the chassis as well in step 32. Okay, we'll be back. At the end of step 31, I have assembled 2 of these fuel tanks. And 2 of these running boards. These are all chrome parts. There's a lot of screws. In fact, in this step, over 20 screws are used to put these together. Okay, step 32, the tanks and the running boards get attached to the chassis, and I'll be back for that. Wow, there's a lot of screws there too. I'll be back. I'll show you what they look like all attached and set up. Okay, we're back. I've completed step 32, where we installed the fuel tanks and the running boards. Now, one of these running boards is going to be replaced by the running board assembly from the multifunction unit. So that will require the removal of these 4 screws, and the new running board will get installed probably here. You can see this is the transmission that I built earlier, and they had me put these brackets for this running board on as part of step 32, probably to make it easier to install the transmission. So that's it. In step 33, we put together the mechanism platform that will go on here with the switch that turns the truck on and off, and some other stuff. And we'll come back. I'll come back after I've got that step completed.